Hello, everyone. Welcome to this SenTech Live. My name is Hannah Musaji, and today we are here with Tom Hazel and David Bilodeau, who will be speaking on the strategies you can use to offset carrier rate increases. So before we get started, quick reminder that this session is being recorded and all attendees are on listen-only mode. There will be opportunities to ask questions using the Q&A feature, which we'll be keeping an eye on. So without further ado, off to you, Tom.
All right, that was quick and dirty. Appreciate the introduction. Thank you very much, Hannah. Great to see you again. David, haven't we done this before?
Feels like it.
Yeah, it feels like
deja vu all over again.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like the first time. We had really solid attendance, David and I, on our last event. I try to remember how many leads came through, Dave, but it was in the high double digits, if I recall. So those leads all went through the process of going through DGRs and then qualified and pushed out to you all in the field or inside sales, depending on how the account is assigned overall. So appreciate the opportunity for you to bring customers to us for these rate change webinars. So we're going to go over exactly what we talk to your clients about. So you're speaking from the same hymnal, so to speak. And that is changes and strategies to offset carrier rate increases. So let's jump right into it. So what's changing in 2025 and 2024, really, too, in the small parcel market? We'll go through the rate increase and analysis for UPS, FedEx, and United Postal Service. And then, obviously, strategies to mitigate and reduce the impact of the rate increases that we do share with your clients. As a reminder, there will be another one of these events in February. When the bills come in, the reality sets in. And then we're also going to rerun our Shipping Hacks webinar, which attendance wasn't terrible. It was about 300 or so, but these rate change events usually get thousands. So we want to make sure that we get that out there again and have you promote it to the best of your ability. And then we'll have time for Q&A throughout the session. So talking about the product as far as parcels and the market by share, what you clearly can see here is there's some activity that is unusual. Amazon Logistics is now number 2 in the country as far as parcels as of 2023. USPS leads the charge at 31%, UPS at 21%, FedEx at 18%. The others at 3% speak to regional carriers, if you will, overall. So as you look at it, year on year from 22 to 23, the USPS actually came down a little bit, less than 1% by 0.9. But UPS took a monster hit, 10% drop. That's billions, folks. That's billions of packages. And then look at the FedEx going to almost to the right totally. They went down by quite a big chunk too, 6%. But it's really more impactful because they have less volume overall. So think about it similarly to what happened with the UPS side, although the percentage is different. Look at the volume difference in movements. It's incredible. But look at Amazon Logistics, right? They have excess capacity. They're making good use of it. And then if you look at the regionals, I guess a small player, 500,000 in 2022, a little better than 500,000 in 2023. But that's 28% growth. That's a big leap for that kind of a situation overall. We were able to peel back the onion on the first half of 2024, which is awesome. Not often we can do this, but we did it this year, which is great to see. And you see the post office is up again. Back up in the good world, right? 1.6%. UPS continues to decline, minus 0.8. Logistics, Amazon is up again, and FedEx is down as well. And then look at the others. Again, this is an impactful thing, which is why we're looking to add more and more regional carriers to the pharma connectors, to the overall application and platform of Pitney Ship Enterprise, because that is the future, is the regionals. The growth is there. It's very, very obvious overall. So the general rate increase, or GRI, is known as, this year is 5.9% for UPS and FedEx. Sounds like a broken record. Yep, because it was 5.9% last year, but we all know better than that. But if you look at it from a cumulative nature, I'm going to round up numbers to make my life easy. So you got 6%, 6%, 12 plus 7%, 19 plus 6%, 25. That's a monster increase when it accumulates because it's on top of on top of on the top. So it's more like a 35% increase since 2022, which is pretty dramatic overall. Look at the post office, it's 3.2 to 3.9, depending upon product. Staying under the norm, which they ordinarily like to do, as you see, as you look at the different rate increases over time. So UPS, we'll touch on that, 5.9, right? The usual statement. But starting October 26th, you'll be charged an extra 2% on credit card payments. So they're actually charging clients who use a credit card an extra 2 points on all their transactions. That's the total cost of the transaction, any packages for any given day, week, or month. So then the surcharges come into play again, but now they've added more zips to delivery area surcharges. So they redrew the map, and it's going to mostly cost you more because they added more zip codes to be in residential or delivery area, commercial surcharge areas. So that is a rate increase under the covers, and it happened in October. Then they're rolling out a new playbook for large packages. They're scrapping the additional handling method and bringing a cubic volume calculation into play. More to come on that, and that should be a hell of a mystery to play that one. But again, our applications do it because they take dimensions, calculate product, right? They understand it, they calculate the size, and they rate properly. But if you're shipping something bulky, and it's lightweight, think bean bags, think lampshades. You're talking about a 40-pound billable minimum on some packages. That's exuberant. That's amazingly high. So when you look at the areas of increase, it's where your clients are moving, as they always do. So clients get a little smarter. They get away from next day early AM. They get away from next day saver. Then they look at the 2-day services. That's what UPS has hit. And then look at the residential and the commercial side, again, over 31 pounds staying clean to the 5.9, but the other areas stretching above those limits overall. So when you look at the opportunity from Pitney Bowes within the Pitney Ship product line, there is an opportunity for taking advantage of our UPS rate card. And these are really legitimate rates on the screen. This is legit. 4-pound package going from DC to Philly, normally $20.70 in ground residential. The savings is enormous because it's 63%. Then you're seeing another one next to it, Atlanta to Dallas, 2-pound package, saving 59%. Atlanta to Miami, saving 74%. So your averages, and I talk to clients like this, it's usually in the area of 55% is the savings. But the other piece that's really critical is there's no fuel surcharges. There's no ground residential surcharges. There's no delivery area ground surcharges. Same thing with residential and commercial. And there's no residential pickup or residential pickup area fees. Return labels are free. And then other items that are discount, smart pickup, on-call pickup, daily en route pickup fees, large package fees, additional handling fees, and delivery surcharge air and residential. So they're discounted. Again, we can't publish exactly what the numbers are, but we can tell you what's eliminated, and that's on the left. And this is a good slide to have in your bag. That's for sure. Looking at our friends at FedEx, and I'll get into the address changes and all that too in a minute. Don't worry, I'm going to give you those numbers. Some services are getting harder hit than others. FedEx Ground Economy, Freight Economy, International Premium are seeing steep climbs, right? 2-day air shipments are looking higher than average, depending on weight and distance factors. And they're beefing up the surcharges for residential deliveries of large and bulky packages. You get the idea there, but though they don't talk. And as of October 7th, they began charging the new international surcharge, which is based upon fuel, jet fuel, not our auto fuel or our automobile car fuel, if you will. So that surcharge, normally standing alone, is a surcharge of fuel is 15%. Obnoxious as that would be, this is 24.75% for anything going overseas or international. So if it's going overseas, it's getting on a plane. They're not putting it on a barge or a boat. So you're looking at almost 25 points of surcharge on the fuel side, which is pretty enormous. Again, if you look at the rates, right, next day air, they did the same exact thing. Priority overnight stayed steady or slightly under. 2-day AM, 2-day overall, express saver, home delivery. This is where they're hitting the hardest, right? That's what they're doing. So they've seen a level off on their overnight services. So they're going to leave those alone for the most part and actually come down a slight bit. But that 2-day and 2-day AM and the commercial ground and home delivery areas is what they hit in Express Saver too, because they're losing volume there and losing revenue. So they act the way our clients act. So nothing different about that. So we are allowing that we do have a negotiated rate structure with the FedEx platform. We're initialing, and it's discounts on FedEx Ground, Ground Economy, FedEx One Rate, which are popular services, and International Connect. So you have some discounts there. With the Pitney Bowes program, software users can leverage a variety of shipping discounts. Some that are eliminated, some are just discounted. Most is just discounted. And no volume requirements as the UPS program too. So this is being tested, if you will. So it's in Ship Excel and Pitney Ship Basic, the Pitney Ship Baby, the entry-level product. It's not yet available in Pitney Ship Pro or Pitney Ship Enterprise. And the reason is, we're filtering through this, right? We're making sure we've got everything in place to make sure it goes very smoothly. And then we're going to talk in the future about releasing the Pitney Ship Pro and Pitney Ship Enterprise. So as you look at the difference in shift in 23, okay, compared to 2022, parcel shipping volumes, right? They were up again, right? They were up. So 0.5%, but they were up. And then 165 parcels per household. I can account for that personally, unfortunately. And per person, I've got way more than that going on. So I guess I am the household, so I'll stick with that number. So volumes are very strong, and they're actually hitting the lines that we forecasted. This is a great slide to keep in your bag as well. So it shows you the residential delivery surcharge is now $6.55 for FedEx, $6.10 for UPS, nothing for United States Postal Service. Again, you don't want to be seen as a shill for the carriers, especially UPS, US Postal Service, or any carrier for that matter. But these are legitimate comparisons, that's for sure. Delivery area service for ground residential is $6.20. Extended is $8.30. Unbelievable. Those are pretty hefty costs. Fuel surcharge right now is running at 17 points. I had said 15 earlier, but it is up in the 17s at this point. And address correction fees for air or ground, any service, any package, for FedEx is now $24. And for UPS, it's $23.50. I remember several years back when they first launched this at $5. So they're making money on that one. And their World Ship, Campus Ship, FedEx Cafe let you do it all day long. Go figure. But that's what you're going to pay because you get it wrong. And the problem with a free system like that is nobody maintenances the database. So get it wrong once, you're going to get it wrong every single time because that's what clients do. Mary in accounting isn't calling Bob in the shipping area or Susie in accounting or Jennifer in shipping, or they're not calling them and say, hey, fix your address. You got it wrong in your address book. That doesn't happen. So that problem perpetuates itself. So let's just say you have to send something to home office, head office every single week. And the address is wrong by something silly, could be a directional. It could be very simple. It's going to get delivered and you're going to get charged. So every week you'd be incurring a charge of, you're up to $100 a month now, every week if you send a package to head office or home office. So it is a legitimate situation that goes on. And thanks to our software and global carrier services, it corrects the addresses and identifies residential automatically for our clients and saves it and updates the address book. So important to note that as well. So with that, before we get to any work around the U.S. Postal Service, which David Bilodeau is going to join us now, I'm going to see, Donald, do you have any questions that are out there? Anna, Donald, anybody?
We do have a few questions, Tom.
Okay.
First one is, are the discounted UPS rates in the Pitney software for existing UPS clients as well as new?
So, truth be told, it is just supposed to be used for um, just for new clients, not for existing contracts. So, if they're paying standard rates and they don't have a contract with UPS, could they activate it? The answer is yes, they could activate it. Now, they're creating a new account number, a brand new account number. So that they have to be aware of. So you have to make sure that you name it something other than UPS, because you can name it whatever you want and it'll display in the screen, but you can't have both rates displaying together. So you need to name it something. Maybe it's PB UPS rates or UPS PB rates, something like that. But could they do it? They could. We can't stop them from doing it, and UPS hasn't stopped them from creating an account. That's actually a terrific question.
I have another one. Does the 2% surcharge for credit cards also apply to corporate P cards, and is that negotiable for high volume shippers?
It is. It applies to P cards. It applies to every credit card paid for shipping. It's a brand new charge, so they could attempt negotiations. It wouldn't hurt them to pick up the phone, but I can tell you what they're going to hear. So it's the transaction fee between the credit card and the person getting paid. That's what sits in the middle, right? There's that transaction fee that we recognize ourselves with our carrier payments. That's what they don't want. They don't want to deal with that because it's essentially reducing their revenue on a monthly bill that's paid or a weekly bill paid with a credit card by roughly 2 points. So they're recouping that loss basically from the credit card company.
Do we have time for another one?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Linda says that her understanding is that the majority of addresses are assessed DAS. Approximately what percentage of addresses have DAS applied?
That's a great question. So if you look at the United States of America and you get out of the major metropolitan areas, right? So they're also the population centers, right? So New York City and all its beautiful boroughs, there's no DAS within that proper area, but upstate New York, there's all of its probably delivery area surcharges. So if you had to calculate it, David, I don't know. That's a great question. I would say probably anywhere from 60 to 70% of all residential addresses are delivery area surcharged. I would say that's probably a fair statement to make. But nice question. I don't know if you stumped the band, but you challenged it, that's for sure.
Yeah, just keep in mind that there's while most if you were to look at a map, right, and you just mapped out and said, okay, show me the zip codes, just the zip codes that have these surcharges, it would look like, a higher percentage than 60 to 70% of the map, right? It might look like 80 or 90% of the map. But then, if you were to break that down and talk about like, okay, how about like the actual addresses in the United States that receive a delivery area surcharge, the map's going to look a lot different. That's where you're going to get that, like, maybe it's only 60% of the number, just because it's, I mean, a lot of our country is more rural or suburban than it is urban. So on a map, like, you know what I'm saying? Like it might. So if that question is stemming from like something you may have seen where it showed a map and let's say, oh my gosh, the whole country's colored red because it's all getting DAS, and it's like, well, that doesn't really tell you the real story.
That's true because the population centers, or major metropolitans have the most people and therefore, from a dwelling standpoint, the most dwellings.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great question. That was well thought. And yes, it looks like that truck is levitating.
It does. Yes. Yes. We're
like
not
that.
responsible for this image, but
I'm
thank
levitating
you
for you. Yeah,
that detail.
I like how the logo's blocked out too. Yeah, they could have washed. They could have washed the truck at least. Jesus.
This I bet you whoever created this used AI, and it's AI still has a ways to go, right?
Evidently. So it seems. Yeah. All right. Any other questions, Hannah, before we hand it over to David?
One more. How are we billing them on FedEx and UPS, and how do we manage pickups?
Yeah, so the pickups are managed by the carrier, not from Pitney Bowes. So we got out of the logistics business when we sold global e-commerce. So if you want to pick up, you would request a pickup in the software, and the fees apply, they apply. If they don't, they don't. Simple as that. So that's done right in the software. Um, Initially, it's known as one pay. So one pay is they're putting a credit card in, we're collecting the fees, and then we're paying FedEx. So that's what I mean by saying we're working the bug, making sure we're working the bugs out of it. It's known as single payer, not one payer, my bad. Single payer. So single payer is what the carriers like. They like single payer because they don't have to worry about collecting money from Hannah and David and Steve Medford and Dean Marriott and Donald. They don't have to worry about that. Single payer allows that we're paying them for all those people I mentioned, plus, 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 plus. So that's why they can also give the rates they're giving, is that, at least in their minds, is that we are the middleman. And right now it's a credit card set up in the application, but we're also refining how do you make a claim, right? For insurance or lost or late delivery in a guaranteed moment when you have a service that's guaranteed. So we had to build that interface. So that interface is built in the product, in the Pitney Ship product. We can promote it up into the other two, Pitney Ship Enterprise and Pro. But that piece of the puzzle has to be in place so that if it doesn't arrive or it arrives late and it was a guarantee, there's a way to request a refund, which I've seen it. It's pretty slick overall in how they do it. So more to come. Like I said, you'll gain. We'll definitely bring it to your attention in a strong message, and maybe even a SendTech Live or part of a SendTech Live when it launches in the Pitney Ship Pro and Pitney Ship Enterprise products. Good question. Anything else?
That's it for now.
That's it for now. All right. Well then, David, it's not it for you. It's it for me for now.
Sounds good. I know it's gonna be hard for you to sit there though, so please join in. So a couple things with the USPS rate change that's coming here January 19th. First of all, only the shipping products are going to experience any increases / changes. So your mailing products, or what the USPS also calls the market dominant products, those are not changing this rate change. So stamp prices, first class mail, marketing mail, all of those prices are remaining the same. So the only shipping or the package services like media mail and library mail, they will also stay the same because although they're called package services, they're not technically part of the USPS shipping products. So this is going to be Priority Mail, Priority Mail Express, Ground Advantage, things like that. So before I dive in, just to, what we always share with our clients are, some of those benefits of shipping with the USPS. Obviously, there's, Tom talked about no surcharges as far as residential and fuel surcharges, no Saturday delivery fees, and of course, delivery to, your military addresses there. The other thing I always talk about opening is, lots of times your clients may have questions about zones, and because zones obviously very important when you're talking about pricing for packages. And they say, "Oh, what zone am I in?" Well, wherever you're shipping from, that's going to be zone 1. So you can see here what the country looks like. Now, this is USPS if you were shipping from Baltimore. So you can see zone 1 is kind of the central Maryland piece. Zone 2 gets you out to including Pennsylvania, Jersey, Delaware. And then you can just see that, obviously lots of the West is zone 7 and 8 when you're shipping from one coast to another. Now look how this changes though when you're shipping from somewhere like Chicago, more in the center of the country. Lots more of the country, and those addresses are still zone 5 and 6 rather. So what's important about that is, as you go further out, the price increases for most services. Now, when it comes to the USPS, they really, and what we're going to focus on today, are really their three main shipping products. So, Priority Mail Express, that's the post office's guaranteed service. Most addresses are next day. There are a few rural areas that it will be guaranteed only for 2 days, but that's their next day service. Priority Mail is still an air service by the USPS. So there's a big I don't know, mistake that we even make when we're talking with our clients, or clients definitely make when they think about priority mail pricing. They're comparing that to something like the ground services from the carriers, when in fact they should be comparing that priority mail pricing to something like 2 day and 3 day delivery. Priority mail is 1 to 3 day delivery anywhere in the country. And I'll have a map that'll show that in just a bit. And then there's Ground Advantage. The USPS created Ground Advantage specifically to be an identified ground service to compete against FedEx, UPS ground services. So if you're looking at comparing prices or talking to clients and they're shipping ground and they want to introduce the USPS as a carrier, this is the ground service from the USPS, Ground Advantage. Now, just to touch quickly on what I was talking about, that priority mail example, this is an example of the delivery time frame for priority mail anywhere in the country. You can see that actually it can make those urban areas or more populated areas on the West Coast within 2 days. So, up in the upper left-hand corner here of the country, that's going to be your Portlands, your Seattles. Down here, you can see some other addresses here in California. So coast to coast in 2 days for lots of these addresses, but anywhere within that 3 days. So again, just something to keep in mind when you're thinking about the USPS, that when it comes to these shipping services, they are absolutely competitive with the carriers, the traditional carriers. Eventually, I will get to rates, I promise. But first, let's just set this up, because before you learn what the rates are, you have to learn how we can price these rates and what discounts are available. So with the USPS, they're published rates. There are retail and commercial. I try to make this really simple. If you're printing a meter tape, or if you're using stamps, or if you're going to a post office, you are paying retail, right? So your clients that are using their meters to pay for Priority Mail, Ground Advantage, or Priority Mail Express, they are paying the most they could possibly pay. Because they're using retail rates. Commercial pricing is what's available using our software like Pitney Ship. Just by printing that shipping label, they automatically get discounts on every single package they send with Ground Advantage, Priority Mail, and Priority Mail Express. Now, the other cool thing about printing the shipping label, though, is it unlocks our special discounts that were available with the USPS called our Connect e-commerce rates. It also unlocks, when you're using our software, some special rates called cubic rates, which I'll talk about more, and hopefully we all know what those are. So before I dive in even a little bit further, let me just talk about the pricing tiers with the USPS. And this is probably a decent slide to share with your clients as well. So the first one is retail. Okay, so again, you're printing a postage meter tape, you are using stamps, or you're going to the post office itself. This is the most you would pay. Those are the retail rates. Again, commercial rates are anyone that's printing that shipping label using an online software to do so. It prints what we call the Intelligent Mail Package Barcode, IMPB. This could be whether it's software or APIs, doesn't matter, but these are the published commercial discounts. And then finally, the least amount your clients would pay, technically, there's another thing in here we could talk about. There are contracted rates you can have with USPS for really high volume shippers. We'll dive into another day. But for just using Pitney Bowes, your clients will get these special discounts called Connect e-commerce. Okay, so these are, when you think about the different services, the different levels of service, there are these different pricing tiers that are available for each of these, for every package. So let's just talk about what's changing here. So what I'm showing in these charts is the rates as of July 2024. I am not showing the current peak surcharges because that'll actually make some of these prices look like they're going to be lower. So yes, the 2025 retail prices might be a few cents, pennies lower than what the peak prices are right now, but that doesn't really matter because your clients were overall paying what started in July 2024. So just taking a look at this, the big takeaway here, I'm not going to run through each of these lines, guys. You can read that yourself. The big takeaway is if you have clients that are printing postage for priority mail using their meter, you can actually save them money. You reduce their budget for 2025. You can actually have them spend less in 2025 than what they spent in 2024 just by switching to using something like Pitney Ship to print those labels. Okay, so I'll say that again, a little more clear maybe. You can save your clients money over what they spent this year just by switching them from printing meter tape for their priority mail to printing a shipping label through Pitney Ship. Now you'll see some of these rates here. It shows less than that rate. That's because we do have our Connect e-commerce rates. These are not publishable, so we can't just go out and publish. Oh, here's the Pitney Bowes rates for each of these. We can't just do that publicly. The other reason is that I have just the less than. We don't know what those rates are going to look like come January. The post office lets us know about a week, maybe sometimes 3 days before our new CEC rate card will come out. So expect us to give you some real numbers here come July. But as of right now, just plan that, it's going to be even less than this, these prices here. So that Pitney Bowes price is less than the commercial price, which you see on in the chart here. When we talk about the savings, gang, this is what I like to point out. When we started this commercial pricing, when it was first made available, your clients were saving 20 cents, 30 cents a package. Almost every savings now is over $1. Okay, so what you're seeing in here, this is just zone 1 to 9, 1 pound to 10 pounds, the commercial prices. Okay, not even our CEC rates, just commercial prices versus retail. You can see these savings of 15 cents to 28%, or sorry, 15 cents, 15% to 28%, and these are real numbers. So when we take a look here, here's a zone 2, a 2 pound package going to zone 2. All right, it'd be $11.10 retail. But you can see here that it's less than $8.57. So these, like I said, are real savings just by using Pitney Bowes and Pitney Ship and our multi-carrier software. Oh, there you go. Greater than 23%. Now I talked about the cubic pricing, okay? Cubic pricing, if you guys are not familiar with this, please just study this slide again and get familiar with it. Cubic pricing is a great pricing tier that the USPS offers our clients via our software. And it's for packages that are parcels that are smaller in size, but can weigh up to 20 pounds. So you can see some of the rules here. So for priority mail, the parcel has to be less than half a cubic foot. Okay, so think 12 by 12 by 6. That's half a cubic foot. Okay, that can qualify for this. Another way to think about it is something like a shoebox, right? Like if it fits in a shoebox, it can qualify for cubic pricing. So if you have clients out there mailing, heavier things like something like a candle or candles, that's a perfect way to take advantage of this cubic pricing. And what the beauty of it is, rather than pricing being based on the weight and then the zone, it's based on the size of that box and then the zone. So I'll show you some examples here. But again, it's a really great way. Like whenever you see those savings numbers of up to 88% or up to 89%, it's using this cubic pricing to get that. The other beautiful thing about this cubic pricing is it's still priority mail. Okay, so priority mail cubic pricing, it's still priority mail. It's better prices. It's not going to degrade the service. So your clients are still going to get that 1 to 3 day delivery across the country. So here's an example. So again, rather than being based on the weight, you can see there's the cubic feet ranges on the left. So 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, and then 0.5 cubic feet. That's the first piece. And then you look at your zone. But think about a 20-pound package going to zone 3 for $9. I mean, that's unheard of. Here's another example actually. So this package was 14 by 9 by 4 inches. That means it would qualify for that 0.3 tier. So again, just think about what that looks like as a box. And then if we were to use this package, let's say it was 7 pounds. Okay, normally that would be $16.75 with priority mail normally, but with this cubic pricing, you're talking about $9.96 or a savings of over 40%. So huge savings available with this cubic pricing. The best part is your clients don't need to think about it, right? When they're using Pitney Ship, they just put the dimensions in. Pitney Ship automatically, and when I say Pitney Ship, gang, Pro, Enterprise, like whatever, it doesn't matter. Pitney Ship, our multi-carrier software, goes through and finds the best rate based on all of the package dimensions and the weight and zone of where it's going. Another way that this cubic tier becomes really interesting is flat rate, right? The post office did a phenomenal job marketing their flat rate boxes. And the reason is because, well, A, they wanted people to ship with them. That was number one. But B, they know people are going to be using that service when they don't necessarily need to be. So they're going to be paying more than they have to. So let's say I have this priority mail, a medium flat rate box. Okay. A medium flat rate box qualifies for that zero point 0.4 cubic tier. All right. So let's say I was sending something zone 5 for 10 pounds. Well, the retail rate for that flat rate box is $19.15. You say, yeah, Dave, but you know what? No. My client's using the commercial prices. They're going to print that shipping label for that medium flat rate box. Okay, cool. They're going to save $2.50. That seems very reasonable. But if they were to switch to their own packaging for this, they could be paying as little as $12.84 or a 33% savings based if they just were not using that flat rate box. So still priority mail, switch to your own package, and our software would automatically let them know that, hey, you should be sending this cubic pricing. And I say send it cubic price. It will rate it with the cubic pricing. Nothing for your client to do there. So very cool example of how to save money. So ground advantage, I talked about it before. It's like this is the USPS's ground service. It was just launched last year. It seems like it's been years now. But the post office, what they did, they took Parcel Select Ground, First Class Package Service, which we were all familiar with, and Retail Ground, and they combined them into one service. So it gets this 2 to 5 day delivery, tracking, full tracking's included, the $100 of insurance. But this service is really best when your clients are looking for that ground rate. So if they need that 2 to 5 day delivery, Ground Advantage is check that box. If they're looking to send something that's less than a pound, by the way, this gets you that first class package pricing that we've all grown up with here at Pitney Bowes. Also, what when shipping with the USPS, this is the primary option for hazmat. So taking a look again, I'm not going to go through each of these prices line by line. The important thing for each of you to know is if you sign your clients up for Pitney Ship Pro or Pitney Ship Enterprise, they could actually be paying less for their ground advantage in 2025 than they did this year. So, and not just a little bit less, a lot less. You can see what those prices look like here. The other thing that I'll highlight is that, again, you'll see some of this less than. We have CEC rates available for our ground advantage, rates as well. And then again, once again, take a look at these savings. I mean, 37%, 29%. I mean, these are real numbers that you could be saving your clients, okay? Now, I talked about that less than a pound, sending packages that are less than a pound with Ground Advantage. Here's a great example, okay? So retail priority mail, if I've got a package that weighs a pound, okay, or actually, sorry, only weighs 7 ounces, weighs less than half a pound, but go into zone 3, right? Retail would be $9.70. Let's say I use a flat rate envelope, $10.85. With Ground Advantage, it's $4.44. Gang, it's a savings of over 54%. So your client would spend less than half just by using this. Now, the other advantage here that to think about, no pun intended with Ground Advantage there, think about your clients and the number of times that they're sending something that weighs less than a pound with something like UPS or FedEx. They could be spending, $11, $12, maybe $16 with some of those surcharges on something that may only cost them $4.44. So this is, again, a great conversation to have with your clients. Speaking of cubic pricing, again, Ground Advantage also offers cubic pricing. The difference here is that Ground Advantage, you can send all the way up to a cubic foot. So you can actually send larger boxes and use this cubic pricing for Ground Advantage. The other rules, same rules still apply. You first calculate the dimensions of the package, figure out which zone it's going to, and then you get your rate. But you can see here, a 16-pound package, and this is a live example, by the way. This was actually a college who was sending something and sent Chris Giles an email and said, hey, I don't think my rate's correct here. And so Chris sent me an email, and I said, no, sure enough, this rate is absolutely correct. So they were so used to spending $20 or over $20 on this 16-pound package that when they started using Pitney Ship and printing these shipping labels, they saw that, wait a minute, I'm spending, half of what I'm supposed to be spending? Yep, absolutely. So another great live example of how your clients can save here. Oh, did I? stop sharing? I sure did, didn't I? Sorry, hang on.
Got a little excited there, Dave. Jesus.
I did. Now I've lost my screen and everything. I've lost my teams and all right. That's okay. So in case anyone's wondering, Tom and I did not pre-record this. This is absolutely live. That's all. I just wanted to prove it to everybody. I'm so glad this happened.
Yeah.
All right, enough. Okay, so pardon the interruption there. We should have gone to commercial break. So Priority Mail Express, same story, gang. I know I feel like a broken record here a little bit. Your clients can pay less in 2025 than they did this year. Get your clients to print a shipping label. Now remember, this savings, though, is only one benefit, though, of using our software. Think about the tracking. Think about, the address book. Think about being able to ship from anywhere. The ability to print stamps on this stuff. But again, big savings are available even on Priority Mail Express. I mean, look at those savings, over $4 on each one of these examples. So the savings percent, again, another broken record story here. The only thing that's changing seems to be the colors. But saving up to 17% on Priority Mail Express just by doing that simple thing of not printing a postage meter tape and instead printing that shipping label. So I don't want to confuse everyone to think like, oh, well, I should have everybody like just shipping everything through USPS. Like that's definitely not the message here. Okay. The message here is that multi-carrier is extremely important. Okay. Not only to make sure that your clients can get the most expensive or the least expensive rate on every item that they're sending, but also multi-carrier is a lot more than that. Okay. It means that your multi-carrier, the importance of it is it gives your clients the ability to switch and pivot between carriers when they really need to get something from point A to point B. All right. So think about some of the things that have happened the past couple of years. There was the threat of a UPS strike. USPS, talking about raising some rates, all these rate increases that are happening, and who knows what's going to be next. Multi-carrier through our software, gives your clients the ability to ship with whomever they want. And without whatever market event that might happen, who cares, right? If we make it so simple to switch and pivot to whatever carrier is necessary. The other thing here is that best rate doesn't always mean the cheapest rate, right? There are so many other things that go into this, thinking about just that ground advantage where, if it's hazmat, well, this might not be the best rate with ground advantage, but it's hazmat. So it has to go a different service. You got to be able to choose the right service for that. Is it the fastest way? Only your clients can really define what best means, but having our multi-carrier software, we give them that ability, right? We help them not only decide what's best, but then also implement that across their entire organization so no one can make a wrong decision. And when you think about all of these rates, right, think about all those services. I mean, even just the surcharges that list, and you think about all the rates that I'm talking about here with the USPS and from retail and commercial and CEC and cubic. How do you take all of these things and get them down to one click? Well, that's the beauty of Pitney Ship, guys. We take all of those data points, we organize them, we consolidate them, and then we make it as simple as your client, or even through business rules, I'll do it automatically to select the best way to send all this stuff. Now, we always talk about printing a shipping label with your clients. And obviously we're going to talk about, this cool little device we have that's sitting behind me, sitting behind Tom, that can stamp, weigh, and print shipping labels. And it's our Pitney Ship Cube. Guys, we launched this product as this for a small e-commerce shipper. And all of you have taken this to be something that's much better suited for this office and enterprise shipping environment, which it kind of makes sense, right? The fact that it can print a stamp, the fact that it can print that shipping label, and has the scale all in one, it's why I have one here in my house. If I need to print a stamp or something quickly, I just did something this morning, actually. And it's so simple. So continue leveraging that. Obviously, the holidays are coming up. So here are your holiday shipping dates. So just in case anyone wants to see that. Um, and then lastly, some final thoughts. Look, I talked about the carrier, multi-carrier, right? Carrier diversity is it's more than just saving money. All right. So please don't go out there and say, oh, multi-carrier because I want to save you money. Guys, no, it's so much more important than that. With the rate changes that are happening, the surcharge changes that kind of happen mid-year, like happened this year, the carriers and the shipping market are just becoming completely unpredictable and much more complex. Your clients need a solution for that. Lightweight packages, that's another great way to like start talking to your clients who are just, you say, using a UPS or a single carrier. That would be a great way to start identifying some easy savings. And then obviously, when it comes down to our commercial pricing and CEC rates, and then the FedEx discounts soon to come, but then the UPS discounts that are available, it's a great way to offset any of these increases. There's some great resources to use. But other than that, and it looks like I was sharing the wrong deck there, Tom. So let me find the right one while we take some questions here, Hannah.
I do have one. How are we handling the local POs who keep saying the rates the clients are using are wrong?
Yeah, so just get that information to me. I'll forward it to our postal relations team, our carrier relations team, and they'll call a home office, and that postmaster will get a phone call. So that'll happen, yes. So it occasionally happens. In fact, at one point, I think it was a year and a half ago, roughly, the USPS actually lowered our CEC rates. However, they didn't code their encoding systems who read the barcodes and weigh and measure to reflect the lower cost. And they started taking money out of our clients' accounts because they're allowed to do that. So if you underpost utilizing our API, whether it's Pitney Ship Pro, Pitney Ship Enterprise, Pitney Ship Basic, or even SendPro Enterprise or Ship Excel, if you underpost, it's a two-way agreement. If you underpost, they can go get the money from us, and then we have to remove it from their specific account on their virtual vault. So they'll get an email saying they owe money, and we've already taken care of it because they've already billed us and we made it happen. That is also reflective, and Chris Giles has demonstrated this many of times, that's also reflected in analytics. So you'll see it in analytics that you got a debit on a package or a credit to the package. And yes, it does list the tracking number. So that's all automated behind the scenes for you, our clients. And seeing it live is nothing better than seeing it live. It's pretty slick when you see it live, which I've seen many of times. So that's how that works overall. So the post office in this case, just send me that post office information, the location and address, and then I'll get it to the carrier relationship team. They'll contact the post office, who then contacts that local post, and then it's usually resolved.
Perfect. That's the one question I had.
Well, thank you, Sid Stoker, for ending on a good question. Let me go back there. Go back one slide for me, David. Okay, so it's really important for me that you share this information, and David, you share this information with your clients. Be their consultant. Invite them to these webinars. I can't tell you how many times I've been on a demo with a client when I have an upcoming webinar, and I say to the ma'am, I say, did you invite them to the webinar coming up I have next week? And well, let me get that out to you now, Bill or Sally, or invite your clients. Be the one to lead them to this information, because you see how we go about this. We go over it, we speak about the complexity of it, and we scare them to you. No, we educate them to see the complexity.
A little scared.
Yeah, just maybe a little fearful. But that's what we do. This is what David and I do for you guys. So those leads are solid. And the Cube advertisements on those things now, man, how many people raised their hand for a Cube last time, Dave? 60, 70? 60 to 70 people raised their hands. And if they go online to buy it, they're not paying $269 anymore. We raised the price up to $400. which is pretty much what you can get down to in CPQ. So don't send them to the web anymore, guys. Figure it out, get the price in front of them, and make the money. Use these changes to drive opportunities, right? It's getting more complex. Help them make a good decision, whether it's this year's budget or it's next year's budget. Help them to a decision. And the more your clients know, the more you're going to sell. It's just true. The better they are informed about what they're up against when they don't deal with it every day because they sit up here and they don't see what's going on down here, is where you come in the middle. You fill that gap and keep doing what you do because you do it well. Next slide is, I believe, if you have any questions, you have myself, you have David, you have Donald, you have Clarissa, you have Hannah. I mean, there's more people to help I've ever seen in my life. Pitney Bowes is a sales rep. I just wish this many people could help when I was a sales rep. Young Tommy Hazel carrying a bag, right, Dave? Got it like that. So I think we have an exit poll, and we'd like you to take that because it's important to us that we are delivering content that really makes sense to you. David, any final words before I do a close?
No, just thank you, everybody, for joining this. This is something that Tom and I have been doing together now for, I don't know, a long time. And it never ceases to amaze me that, there's so much information here. And when Tom and I talk to clients about it, you'd be amazed at what your clients don't know. So I think the big takeaway here is don't assume your clients have any idea what's changing, what the changes mean to their business, or even something as simple as don't even assume that they know that savings are available, and that you can help.
Thanks, David. Very true. Very true. So, guys and girls, it's December 2nd, right? Just got through Thanksgiving. Hopefully, you had a beautiful Thanksgiving with family or friends, or a combination of both. I had friends down, so I cooked for a bunch of friends I know. But, the holidays are coming up, right? It's the end of the year. It's been a grind. We've all been through it. Many of us, many, many years of being through it. I wanted to let you know that leadership, myself, David, Hannah, Donald, all of us really appreciate everything you've done for us this year. Everything you've done from a sales position and setting records of number of cubes. We're over 2,000 for the year. Or, just the number of subscriptions. We're up 30% year on year. To the amount of analytics that's every deal now. We're up 30% there plus this year. I mean, you guys make it happen. We know you make it happen. It's because you attend events like this and strengthen your own knowledge and resolve and your willingness to go out there and communicate these types of messages that keep myself and David going, quite candidly. We love what we do, and we're blessed for that fact. So I thank you for all you've done all year long. I wish you a phenomenal holiday. Enjoy your families, enjoy your loved ones. You only get one shot at this in life, right? Enjoy them all. I have my granddaughter in this year. So my daughter's coming in with her husband, so I'm going to be really happy about that, which means I got to put up a tree, Dave, but I'll pull it off. I'll get it done. I decorated the palm tree last year. That will not fly with my daughter with the baby. So, hey, man, I love all you guys. I appreciate all you do for us. Keep doing what you're doing because you do it so damn well. And have a beautiful holiday, and you all take care.
Thanks, everybody.